Hello, I'm Chaz Marler from Pair of Dice Paradise, and welcome back to the third in our three-part series on Minimum Advertised Price, or MAPP, policies in the board game industry. Well, previously, we have discussed how a MAPP policy affects the lowest price that physical and online board game retailers can advertise the products that they sell, and we looked at one publisher's argument for MAPP pricing, stating that under a MAPP policy, the value of their products would actually be enhanced in the customer's eyes. Because sure, yeah, anything's possible, I guess. And maybe it'll rain beer. Now, before I conclude all this, I just want to mention that you are welcome to disagree with me. But I gotta be honest, I'm not buying any of it. I mean, one reason why is how MAPP policies can potentially allow manufacturers to implement programs that turn their suggested retail prices into a thinly disguised barrier to price discounts for the retailers. Which, yeah, obviously I'm totally not a fan of. But my primary point of contention are the attempts by people to justify these corporate shenanigans with the rationalization that, other industries do it too. I mean, look at books and music and video games. Sure, that's true. And by itself, that's certainly a fair statement. But the problem with MAPP and other similar pricing policies is that they have the potential to make prices go up artificially. Not due to market demand, but because of market manipulation. And market manipulation is something that's typically frowned upon. In fact, funny story, way back in 1911, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that minimum sale price programs were in violation of Section 1 of the Sherman Antitrust Act, asserting that minimum resale price policies were indistinguishable in economic effect from naked horizontal price fixing by a cartel, which sounds pretty nasty and rude. And so it was for 96 years until 2007 when the Supreme Court case of Leegin Creative Inc versus PSKS Inc resulted in the court overturning that ban on such pricing policies by a really narrow margin of 5-4. Or, as noted in an article published on the pop culture news website ICV2.com shortly after the law was overturned in 2007, quote, "In that 1911 case, the court decided that these vertical pricing agreements did not benefit the consumer and banned them outright." They went on to include an explanation of the court's reasoning behind their change of position, saying, quote, "The Supreme Court's 2007 reversal does not mean that it's now acceptable for manufacturers to immediately implement programs that will turn their minimum suggested retail prices into ironclad minimum retail prices, which, if not followed at the retail level, would result in the cutoff of supply or other punitive measures." So that's good. But if you go back and replace the phrase retail prices with advertised prices, it starts to sound eerily similar to the MAPP policies that we're starting to see publishers introduce. So, with all of that stuff in mind, I'm going to conclude this with a question for you, my fellow player and purchaser of tabletop games. Minimum pricing policies were prohibited for nearly a century because they, quote, "did not benefit the consumer." Alrighty then. Now that they're infiltrating the board game marketplace, tell me, how have the publishers' minimum advertised pricing policies that we've started to see benefited you, the consumer? Now that they are starting to infiltrate the board game marketplace, tell me, how have the publishers minimized... Oh no, not again! No. It starts to sound eerily familiar, salamanders.